threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Hey, Cam.
We just did this.
Feels like we were just here, buddy, but
Yeah, we were.
it won't feel like that for everybody else.
No,
So
they won't get it.
Nope.
They won't get it.
Welcome to the studio, my friend. It's good to see you. Glad you're healthy, wise, and able to be here. How are things?
They're good.
Yeah.
They're great.
Good.
2 podcasts in a week for us.
Ooh.
I can't ask for more.
Feels good, man.
It does.
It feels great.
I'm sure you all wish you could hear every single day from us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you really do.
I can't imagine what a daily podcast would sound like from us. I
Oh,
don't even
man.
know what it would end up being.
Get really
Weird.
weird.
It'd get weird. That's all I'm going to
The
say.
information and intelligible talk would get weaker and
Lower
weaker.
and lower. By Sunday, it would just be us
voices
coming in, burping
and
and farting and yelling, and we go.
So
That'd be
true.
the last episode.
What we're talking about, I don't know. Yeah.
Here, just eat these Cheetos on mic.
I would love it, though.
It
That'd
would be
great.
fun.
Just
Yeah,
like,
I'd be all about
we're
it.
just chatting all every day.
But Cameron, we're here actually to do a job, and this is the job we're going to do. What
Yeah.
are we talking about today?
Well, we've been talking a little bit about like kind of the beginner prepping stuff, and we
Yeah.
figured why don't we just go over the prepping skills that we find most vital.
Yeah.
There's a lot of skills out there you can work
Mm-hmm.
on, but these are kind of the key ones that we believe are ones
Yeah.
you should all work on this
20 of them.
upcoming 2022.
Yeah, we got 20 of
Yeah,
them
we got
for you.
20.
That's pretty
We
good.
should have got 22, but
Gosh, dang it. We should have.
we're dumb.
All right, it is what it is.
We'll
But
split them up.
before we get going with that, I got to tell you about BattleBox. It is the monthly subscription box for men, full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of handpicked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month. The Ultimate Self-Sufficiency Manual.
Love it.
It's got pictures.
Beautiful pictures.
It's got words, and it helps
And
you
you
survive.
can read them.
Yeah. And then also the ReadyWise American Red Cross 72-hour emergency food kit.
That thing is money.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. It's great stuff. All this badassness starts at just $30 a month. They've shipped almost 14 trillion boxes and won best men's subscription box of 2017. Our listeners get a free knife when you sign up at trybattlebox.com/casual preppers. That's trybattlebox.com/casual preppers. Get your first battle box plus that free knife at trybattlebox.com/casual preppers.
Listener reviews starts now.
This is the year to try your battle box.
It's 2022. It's
Coming
a brand
up.
new year.
Do it.
We're recording this at the end of 2021, but when you hear this, it's going to be
Yeah.
2022.
So it gets my mind a little confused.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for us to
But
keep
you'll be
things
listening
straight.
2022.
Yeah, so it's time. It's time to get out there
Unless
and
the
do.
world ends on the 31st.
And it could.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that we're just doing this for ourselves at this point. Could happen, but
This
I'm
will be
hoping it's not.
archived for
Yeah.
alien race.
But guys, look, you're going to die someday.
Yeah.
You might as well get Battle Box before
Yeah,
you die.
yeah.
Okay?
You'll have 72 hours.
Yeah.
Like that.
sure.
That alone was like.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the stuff I like.
I love it, dude. I really
Boom.
do.
Nice little kit.
Mhm.
Well, here we go. Just 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Here's your listener review.
Okay.
Almost clean enough for your grandma. I think that's
Ooh,
what it was.
It
right?
is, yeah. Chipotle 08.
Love that this podcast gives you useful information and keeps your attention. Does it? Mostly clean and probably factual. But these guys, defs, throw in some idiotic, that's what she said, humor.
Yeah, probably.
So if you're offended by burps, boobs, or
Oh.
poop knives, then stay away. I've recommended these guys to friends, family, and neighbors. Keep up the good work and don't get too raunchy. My grandma listens, and her ear holes ain't that dirty.
Well, Granny, thank you for listening.
Yeah. We love grandmas.
We do.
They're great.
I've got a bunch of them,
And
to be
they're-
honest
they're
with you.
prepping masters.
They really are. They got stuff down.
They do.
You know what I mean? Like, they know what they're doing. They're all super smart.
Yeah. I still
Yeah.
remember the smell and the weird.
Of your grandma?
No, I didn't finish.
Okay, sorry.
Well, that was, yeah. the weird smell and look and scariness of her storage, her food storage. It was like down in the basement in Idaho Falls, and I was like, "This is the creepiest place in the world."
Yeah,
the
but
bottles looked like not even food. I'm like, "Is
just
that
like
a bird
fetuses or something?" You just didn't know what was
These are
in
my
there.
aborted children. Yeah, they're all pickled.
Back in the Depression, this
You
is
can't-
what we did, just in case.
If there's a way to revive them in 2021, we're gonna keep going.
Joe Biden's gonna get us there.
But yeah, I just
that's
remember
great,
it.
yeah.
She knew what she was doing. She taught my mama. My mama taught me. We should keep going.
Yeah.
So
And you're going to teach your kids, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
They don't seem to want to learn anything.
One day they will.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to be a part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, go to the Kindle book on Amazon, leave us a 5-star review. Make it awesome.
It's a mad, mad world.
So,
Make it up.
man, this is weird, and I don't know if this is a sign of something that's to come, but it is weird.
I saw your title and it
Yeah.
did seem disturbing.
NASA hired 24 theologians to study human reaction to aliens.
That's creepy.
Does that creep you out? Because
It
it
does.
kind of creeps
It
me
does.
out, right?
With the recent events of like releasing footage that
Yeah.
we're
Dude.
preparing for something.
It is so weird. You know, the article just says they've hired all these people to try and figure out. So if you know,
What's the movie that they with Amy Adams that she's like trying
Arrival.
to communicate? Yeah,
That's a great
So
movie.
it's kind of like this.
a little bit.
They're like trying to get linguistics and stuff. They're
Yeah.
like, we're gonna talk to
And
these
this
aliens.
is more of like what how are people going to react if we say
that's-
aliens are here?
Oh wow, that's scary.
That's what I'm telling you. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So I guess I just say that because, you know, there's so much stuff that happened UFO, alien-wise not alien-wise, but UFO-wise in 2021. What does 2022 hold with
Wow.
this kind of crap going on?
I'll be
Dude.
honest, I'm excited for that kind of crap.
Oh,
though.
full show. Yeah, I'm right there with
I'm
you.
excited.
You know,
Area
but
51, they're like,
yeah.
this is a year.
What did I see the other day? Is like, you know, I don't want to say this, guys, but everything was fine until we raided Area 51.
True.
Do you remember? It was like right after that.
People saw some stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta have to
Release the
release it.
Omicron, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It was pretty
That's
weird.
true, huh?
Yeah.
That was just like right.
Yeah,
before
when did that happen? I can't remember exactly, but I know it was around that time.
Oh, was it in 2020
I don't know.
or 2019?
I don't know. When
I
was
think it was
it?
like
Let's see.
19.
2019.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nothing. Wow.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Somebody peeked in a window and they're like, release it.
Yep, it's time. September
COVID.
20th, 2019.
Wow.
And it was like right
so
after that.
NASA's like hiring people to learn how to like deal with.
Yeah, so how are people going
encountering-
to react?
That is weird.
Anyways.
Don't worry, we got a bunch of theologians.
Yeah.
Theologians.
Theologians.
That's just weird though.
I know. Pretty crazy.
So Russia
Hmm.
advancing their tech, always interesting, right?
Well, yeah, for sure.
They've been testing its Orion. Remember I was saying that?
To be honest with you, I was talking to my wife last night and she listened to that. She's like, I don't know if I've ever laughed as hard as when Cam said Orion. She's like, it was like a half
I
hour
have no
of
joke
laughing.
heard it that way when I've talked about like astronomy, and so I was like, anyway, I don't know why it came out that way.
Yeah, she was laughing just so you know.
Orion, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Orion Unmanned Aerial Vehicle (UAV) is a drone killer. So
Oh.
not only are they using drones to attack and do things like we've been doing, but now they are specifically building them to attack other drones.
Wow.
So we've talked about it before, like China and all their production of drones, DJI, just waiting to attack Americans because we all own one.
Yeah, and then
But
they're just going to
like-
take control of them and go.
But that's like the military shifting to like drone on drone action, which is super weird.
Ew.
You know,
You like that drone on drone action?
I do. I like to see it. But what a weird like possible warfare of just like
Yeah.
all
drones.
these robotics just fighting, and we're just like, what are we doing down here?
But that really is like the future that we thought when we were kids.
It is.
Like robots fighting each
Yeah.
other. That's what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
How
Skynet
weird is
stuff,
it?
man.
Skynet,
Super
yeah.
weird. It'll just be spelled different.
Yeah.
Got a couple extra Y's in there. Be
Yeah.
based in Utah,
Yeah, for sure.
Provo based.
100%.
But yeah, anyways, I thought
Yeah.
that was crazy that they've successfully shot down drones, and that's where they're like really focusing with their air
Yeah.
war efforts, which is crazy.
That is nuts, man.
It's going to be an interesting war.
It is a mad
that
war.
they're maybe preparing for.
Mm-hmm.
We're all preparing for it, right?
Everybody is. So, yeah, so we decided, we just did an episode called the New Prepper Checklist, right? So all the things as a new prepper that you can kind of get started with. But Cam came up with a beautiful idea. Well, let's talk about skills.
Yeah.
Right?
We always mention water skills. Mm-hmm. It's always everybody's number one.
It is.
But we'll get to that.
It's not number one on our list, though. These aren't in any sort of, like, specific
I kind
order.
of tweaked them a little.
Oh, okay,
so
maybe they are then.
Some of the bigger priority ones were first.
Okay, great.
But it isn't going to apply to everybody, okay? I'm just saying these are the ones that we could all work on better.
Okay.
Even ones that I'm like, oh, I felt comfortable in this one. Like, there's just much more to do.
Yeah, and so obviously there's 20 of these. You're not going to get proficient at 20 skills
There's
in
not
2022.
20 months.
No, there's not 20 months. I mean, yeah. So maybe pick one or two for the year and say, hey, I'm going to try these.
Well, these are just ones, that'll help any prepper be better.
Yeah,
okay?
And they're great for prepping, but they're just great for living, bro.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to
Number one, go to church.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's not just for this long-term SHTF situations. A lot of these are just great for every day.
It's true.
Right? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, number one is just healthy living.
Oh, man.
And the difference that it can make.
It sure can.
I'm saying this because I see people on a daily that I'm just like, you need to make lifestyle changes. Like,
I'm going to take a drink of this real quick.
I know. And I'm the same. Like, there's things that we can do better.
For sure. Yeah.
All of us, more exercise, more social activities kind of get, out of your mental funk. Like, that's one thing that I don't do enough. I spend so much time with people and fixing their problems that I don't want anything to do with human beings when I'm at home.
Yeah, I get you.
And that's a problem. But, anyways, just healthy living will get you so much further in any event, not just like SHTF, but like any stressful thing that you come across, you're going to be better off. And all the survival books that I read, it's the the ones that are usually more healthy going into it are going to last a lot longer.
Yeah.
Not only due to physical strength and endurance, but like their mental, they're positive people. Like they just, I can work through this. I have the ability to do this. If you have a body that's functional that will be able to get you through it, much better. If you're reliant on seeing your doctor every single month.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good goal to make. I don't want to see my doctor every month.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I don't have
People come in like once a year and they're like, sorry, I don't come in very often. And I'm like,
great.
I hug them and I'm like, I love you so much.
Kiss their neck.
This is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you but once a year, even then, So there's a lot of things you can work on in this. I mean, this covers a lot of different things. But, eliminating some of those things you're dependent on, alcohol, smoking, prescription medications you don't need, soda, sweets, I can eat way better. I love salt. I friggin' eat everything that's super salty.
Yeah.
There's just, these things will get you further for everything, for mental, strength, for spiritual strength, for physical strength. And so I think that's why I kind of put this one at the top. It's like, you need to work on your own health.
Yeah.
Before you can really help anybody
Well, and that's the
else.
thing, like, if you're able to get healthier and get this healthy lifestyle, you're becoming more resilient just because it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And so once an SHTF situation comes, you're already better for it, not just being healthy, but you've gone through hard stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard to stop drinking soda.
It's freaking way hard. Yeah.
It's hard to stop eating your Lay's potato chips. It's not easy. I know. And so, you're just getting stronger. You're getting more resilient all the way around.
Right.
Let alone just being healthier.
You just set up a better routine and like, yeah. So, anyways, that's one to work on big time.
I love it. Number 2, Cam says, is self-defense.
Cam says.
You're the one that put the order, so that's what I'm saying.
Did.
It was so, we talk about preparedness, and it's kind of all
this
about...
This one kind of blended in with like exercise.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's about being ready in an emergency situation. Preparedness, right? So anything that comes your way, you're prepared for it. And being attacked by another person, to me, absolutely qualifies as an emergency situation. It's a situation you don't want to get into in any time. And then we talk about SHTF scenarios. In those scenarios, the threat is even higher because people are on edge. They're scared.
They already were.
Yeah, they already
They
were.
already are nowadays.
Yeah, and so now they're confused. They're scared. They have all this anxiety. They don't know what's going on. They're worried about food and gas or money, whatever it is. I mean, think about waiting on those gas lines. If the fuel is running low, or think about like a run on the bank, or you're at the grocery store, and you've grabbed the last pack of ramen, all those types of things. Somebody gets pissed off. It's very easy for that to happen.
Yeah.
It's very easy for someone to say, screw you, I'm just going to hit you in the face and I'm going to take your gas or your money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then just every single day you have that possibility of being randomly mugged or attacked. I mean, road rage, you see the videos all the time.
Right.
The crazy people with road rage and, random encounters at work or school and your neighbors. There's just so many opportunities for people to get upset and to attack you in some way, shape, or form. Right? So I think about this all the time because I am a small dude. I'm not big in any way, shape, or form. I'm like dripping wet. I'm 150 pounds, right? So I'm super small. So I've got a family. I've got 4 girls at home, and they're all super cute. And I have to be able to defend them some way. People look at me and like, I'll take him out with one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's something I think
1556.
1556. He's done. But I think about it more often because I'm so small, right? You just think about those like jacked up dudes that are like wearing the American Fighter T-shirts, watching UFC every weekend, and they're just ready to. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think,
and that's why I was like, I put in as self-defense.
Yes.
And I'm like, for you, even knowing like the things that you've worked on and done, and know that that you feel like you could, would you still want to get in a fight with anybody in the street?
I actually less want to get in a fight now, less so.
But if you actually ended up in it, you at least know some things.
Yes,
and that scares me because I'm just like, you could deal with somebody that knows a lot more than you thought.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Or you deal with somebody and you run out of energy anyway.
Exactly.
Still get beat to death.
You just don't know what's going to happen. Someone pulls out a knife, someone pulls out a gun, someone just cold cocks you out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just getting into a fight is not good, but you have to have those skills. And the hardest part with self-defense is you have to kind of actively engage with it. It's not something that you can say, well, I read the article, I'm good to go, right? It's not going to work that way. So you can read, you can watch videos, but ultimately you have to do it. That's the only way to kind of learn it, and that's why it makes it so hard, but it's such a valuable skill. So you can work on like your hand-to-hand combat. There's obviously weapons when it comes to self-defense, and then I put number 3 is running, because the number one thing is get the hell out of there.
Right.
You don't need to be in a fight for I mean, sometimes you're going to have to, but if you don't need to be there, just go. Just leave.
And if you can outrun somebody,
you're done. You're the best.
You're good. Yeah.
You won the fight.
Way to go.
You won the fight.
You saved a lot of problems for a lot of people. And
yeah. So, in my opinion, everybody should at least have the base knowledge of like the basic hand-to-hand self-defense, which means like some sort of a punch block defense, takedown defense, because you don't want to get taken down. I mean, I'll get taken down, but most people don't want to get taken down. You want to be able to take somebody down and then have like some basic grappling skills so you just don't get your face smashed in by an elbow or something.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways to get these skills, but I recommend signing up with someone locally who's a good instructor. Yeah. And so this can be like Krav Maga, it can be jiu-jitsu, it can be boxing, it can be MMA, and there's even people that just do like straight self-defense classes. So those are really good. So the thing is, you have to either make it part of like your weekly routine to go hit these classes, or try and get there as regularly as possible. Because like I said, going to one class and calling it good, it's just not going to do it. Yeah. But there are online classes and courses that you can take.
If you have to, yeah.
If you have to, I don't think that's the best way to do it, but it's better than nothing, right? Because you need to actually live practice with another person, so you can kind of get those skills and know what it feels like and actually do it, right? And then again, there's weapons for self-defense. There's the lethal type weapons like guns and knives, but there's also less lethal stuff like, tactical pens, the Kubatons, stun guns, pepper spray, all that kind of stuff. So, but if you're going to go that route, make sure you understand like the concealed carry laws and all of those things, and practice regularly. Guns are no different than self-defense. You have to practice all the time.
Right.
So, anyways, self-defense is a really great skill to learn for preppers, but it takes a lot of time. It's like that healthy living thing. You have to be committed to it to really understand it, I think. But anything you can do is good.
But it's like a huge eye-opener just if you spend for me doing it twice, like I want to do more because it's such an eye-opener of how different you have to think.
Yeah.
Like conserving your energy so you don't get, messed up as quick as possible. And it's just different. Like there's just no way of explaining it. Kind of like, and I'll get into that, like the hunting thing. You can't expect to just go and pull a trigger and be set.
No,
and
you can't.
I'll just shoot a deer.
Exactly.
It's so different.
For sure.
So you got to try it. Next thing is like having some basic knowledge in first aid and medical. And I talk about this all the time. Just the basics. Like it just blows my mind how many people just don't really even know what to do with a fever. It's like, like, oh my gosh,
I need surgery.
Have we lost all understanding of like how the body works? And
is it cancer?
Yeah,
no, you have a 99-degree fever.
We're all somewhat hypochondriacs. Like I understand that, but
for
at
sure.
the same time, it's like you're not always going to have access to a medical professional. You're not, and I'm not going to talk to all of you. Like,
you're gonna talk to me.
Like the first thing I'm doing in an SHTF is I'm probably going to like use my phone only for the people I want to communicate with. I'm not going to take texts. I'm not going to take calls, or I'm not going to do home visits.
You can't because there's too many other things you have to deal with.
There is,
personally.
So it's like, and I'm one of many medical professionals that are just like, we can't handle this.
Yeah.
So just like learning the basics of like what to do when your kid has a fever, how to manage and like the things that you need to know of when to seek, more professional care. Like that's like lost nowadays. Like you can see it for how busy urgent cares are and stuff. I'm just like, geez Louise, like, do you even know what you're doing? How do you breathe? It's like you've forgotten everything. But
I coughed last Tuesday.
Yeah.
I coughed again today.
I drove past, had a scratchy throat. Thought I'd have you guys look at
I
it.
Googled it. Says it's either Omicron
Waited 4
or
hours.
AIDS.
I'm like, idiot.
It's either Omicron or AIDS. I'm pretty sure. Tell me which.
This toenail's been hanging off a little bit. Googled it. Cancer of the thyroid.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I got all the symptoms.
I'm just like, ugh. But yeah, knowing how to like deal with just basic sickness, like the remedies you can use, like that is super useful and will get you further than probably most people.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, wondering, like the internet can be great, but it's misleading. It has like tons of studies that are bogus. Like if you don't understand how to read medical studies, you probably shouldn't read them. Like I get that all the time. Like I read that if you take melatonin, it helps with erectile dysfunction. It's like, yeah, well, where'd you read that? Anyways, getting like nursing guides, like books that talk about how to manage like medicine, stuff like that. Yes, you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor, but you can go back and refer to these things.
Sure, yeah.
You can figure out how to diagnose strep throat, but those books and guides are really useful. And the more advanced stuff can come later. You're not going to be carrying a kit to remove a kidney when you don't have any background in that.
No.
Like focus on taking care of your family for basic sicknesses and trying to avoid going to the doctor. That would be number one. Number two is build your own medical kit.
Yeah.
With like Band-Aids and you start realizing what things are quality and what things you need, like what kind of gauzes to use, what kind of Band-Aids, what kind of adhesives and things like that. So I would build your own. That would be the other skill. And then the second is just like pick up guides. Like you may not have a chance to suture and practice suturing or go to a class. If you have a guide available, you can figure it out.
You can get your way through it if you had to, right?
So, and that stuff.
Prepper's Medical Handbook.
Prepper's Medical Handbook
is like really great.
Very good.
I have like a first aid field guide that I keep in my bug out bag.
Yeah.
I mean,
those books, like people always, what are you carrying that for? Well, you're not going to be.
In case I need it.
Yeah.
That's why.
You're not. No, like the one thing I learned in school doing rotations is, you always think of doctors knowing everything. They refer back to books all the time.
All the time.
I'm printing reports all the time from my doctor because he's like, will you access this? He'll come in because I have access to the up-to-date reference. And he's like, will you just print it for me? What do you know about it? Like we bounce stuff off from each other. So it's just like we
a
don't know
practice.
everything, and you got to use these guides. So buy your own.
Nice.
Like, get some of those. But anyways, that's what I would say when you're focused on the skills is the basic stuff, basic life support, CPR, how to take care of a fever, and the other stuff will come. And if you can't get to that, you'll just get medical books.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great,
Done.
That's a great one. I need to work on it too. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, water skills. My computers were shut down. Water
I
skills.
talked too long.
You
Shut
did.
up.
Obviously, water skills is a huge, long-running joke for casual preppers. If you've been with us for a long time, you've heard it a million times. But it's not a joke. I'm being serious
it's
here.
no joke.
It's something that you really need to look at. And I think it's a joke because we said water skills, and that makes no damn sense. But when we talk about water, there's a lot of things a lot of skills that kind of come with water that you should be able to learn. That's like storing water, filtering water, purification of water, transportation of water. There's a lot of different things. All of these things could be life-saving for somebody. So I think it comes to understanding how to use like your filtration methods and your different purification methods. Those are some of the biggest things to understand. And people ask me all the time, well, how much bleach do I need to put in? I'm like, I don't know.
I know.
That's the thing. Like, it's not like something I care to keep in my brain. I got too much other shit to keep in my brain. So
That's so funny. That's how I feel about it. I'm like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I thought you did a
fill
podcast.
something with tap water, you're good.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I have a guide that tells me how to do that stuff. I don't have to keep that in
I'm
my
not
brain.
continually every podcast.
No.
Let's
review.
all quote together
Yeah.
the steps to purifying water.
Anyways, so like what filters do you have? Have you tested them? Do you know the life of the filter? Do you understand how to clean it? These are all things that come along with your water skills. Boiling water. You know how to boil water? It's not that hard. But there's a lot of different chemical purification, other basic filtration methods like the charcoal, t-shirts and making all those UV purification. There's a lot of different stuff.
It sounds
that comes
so
with it.
stupid because we have our water's also available.
You don't worry about it.
So you don't ever think about
Yeah.
it. But if it comes down to this, you're like, man, how long do I boil? Do I,
Exactly.
and it's not that complicated, but it's like when it gets to that point and you're in a panic mode,
Oh, crap.
you want to be safe about it.
Yeah.
You don't know how to do any of this.
Exactly. And then, learning and understanding the best methods of storing your water for long term, like I said, and treating it and making sure it's going to stay safe.
How to drink it, not breathe it.
Yeah. Also, like I said, my favorite water skill is having the books on hand that spell all of this stuff out for me.
Yeah.
I think it's called like the Prepper's Water Guide, or I can't remember exactly, but there's a book.
Get wet with prepping.
Yeah. By Cam Hardy. Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna
Cam
write-
Hardy
I'm
story.
gonna write that book.
That's your autobiography. You just written. You just read it.
Just write that one up.
Yeah, gotta get wet with prep. That one's for the ladies.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's water skills for you.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a little drink.
I'm getting a little parched.
It's all
over here.
now we got to talk about eating some food.
Okay.
So, and we just talked about this recently.
Eating food?
2 weeks ago.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
eating food. We talked about like food storage and all that stuff. So, and food preps can get a little bit complicated. You're just like, holy crap, there's a lot of food that I need to store, and I don't know where to start. And start with the 72 hours for each of your family members.
Yes.
That's the easiest thing to do. And
Look,
then,
man, if you get that, you're killing it.
Yeah.
You're crushing it,
most
bro.
of the time, power will come back.
Yeah, you're crushing
things
it.
will kind of.
Yeah.
And then once you get that, get that for sure. Move to your 2-week supply for you and your family for water and food. But you also have to go into more of understanding the caloric needs for each of you, for whatever your activity level is, your health, and the big thing is nutrition. You can eat the same macaroni and cheese for 2 weeks, and you're gonna get messed up.
Probably.
You've got to understand nutrition to a level of keeping yourself healthy, even if you have food available to eat. You got to understand, the varieties, the things you need to mix and add to these. Maybe it's a 25-year shelf life food.
Yeah,
they just don't. They're lacking some of those things. So, understanding, some of them.
Some of them are pretty good, but you have to have
some of them are just, I think, ground up vitamins. And then they throw macaroni in.
There's a base
they
level.
They taste like that too.
Base level of nutrition that you need to have, nutrients and vitamins. You got to at least understand that, right?
I think nutritionists and stuff, I think that's one of the most interesting subjects because,
sure,
like, our diets in the American diet, like the things that we have available to buy off the grocery store shelves, it just isn't very good. And so, yeah, exactly. But, like, understanding those things will just make your ability to pick the right things for your family. Because we always talk about that 2 weeks needs to be like the perishable foods, not your 25-year shelf life.
Sure, yeah.
Then the 25-year shelf life, it's actually easier to get that stuff. It's expensive, but it's much easier just to buy, a bin from Patriot Supply that's just ready to go.
Yeah.
But you don't want to touch
I've been liking Nutrient Survival. That's one I've really liked.
Nutrient Survival, yeah.
Their
That's
food
their
is
new one,
fantastic.
That have those little...
It's really good stuff. But and then also like someone who was this I was talking with someone the other day and they're like, I got 72 hours kit for my family of the food, like the long-term shelf life. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, do you realize that's for one person? They thought it was for their family.
All the time that does happen.
And so it's like, no, you got to understand that how many calories that is.
Could you stretch it? Yes, but like it's going to be that's not what we're wanting.
And so look at those kits, how many calories they are and how many.
That's so true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I remember, now that I think about it, in Logan, like as a church thing, we like built a 72-hour kit. That was for one of us.
One person.
So,
yeah, exactly.
And it was in a number 10 can,
Yep.
But yeah, so you like focus on the 72-hour, do the 2 week, understand nutrition, what food you're going to need to keep you healthy and to give you the vitamins and minerals you need, and then move to your 25-year shelf life.
That's great. So. Yeah. And so number 6, it kind of goes along with this, and it's gardening. There's a lot of prepper skills we're going to talk about, and I think gardening should be up there.
Yeah.
It really is. People who understand how to grow fruits and vegetables, they're like gods.
They are.
Especially when it comes to like SHTF.
Like the stuff that my mom can grow, I'm like, wow, do you use like Miracle Grow? She's like, no.
Spit in the ground.
Knows how to spend time with them. And
it's crazy. In a long-term SHTF scenario, the ability to grow your own food is basically you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Right. And then, we look at like an economic downturn or a collapse. The ability to grow your own food is going to be crucial to supplement your food because the income's going to be tough, right? But just right now, to be able to grow your own organic, healthy food, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? It's good stuff. But the problem with this is it's like one of those skills that just takes time.
It does.
You don't just like
and
read
it's
the book.
kind of frustrating too.
Oh, it's so frustrating. And it varies depending on where you live and what your soil's like and all this stuff. And the nice thing is there's tons of books, there's tons of YouTube videos, there's tons of podcasts about this. But I really think the best way to do it is to learn from somebody who's done it before.
You do.
You know what I mean?
Who will teach you the most.
Ask your Nana. Nanas are the best.
Yeah.
They
Back
know
of the seed bag, I don't think it gets you anywhere.
No, not really. No. Grandpas, grandmas, they've done it.
Yeah.
Ask them, have them show you because they...
Every single year I call my mom about a different thing because I'm like, I'm 5 years into having my own garden and, I've prepared the soil and everything. This is the first year that I've been able to grow corn. Remember I was complaining about corn being such a stubborn...
Yeah.
I've finally figured it out. So you just have to keep working with it.
You know what the weird thing is? The first year I had my garden, the corn grew like that.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with your soil.
But I couldn't grow tomatoes. Yeah. So it was so weird.
Tomatoes are, they're tricky.
Yeah.
They go like crazy now for me.
Do they? See,
it's just weird. Yeah. You got to figure out your soil and you just got to play with it.
Yeah,
play with the gardening.
Play with it. Get wet with prepping.
I'm telling you, I'm writing that book.
That's happening.
See how far it gets.
Oh, boy. And then along with gardening, you've got like canning and preserving.
Yes.
Because if you're going to do that, you might as well
do
that, the other piece of it. Eat it quick.
And I might as well bottle some
Eat
stuff.
it right now. So.
But you do. Every year you grow too much. Or you have like, so it's like, I'm going to waste it all.
Exactly.
Learn how to use it.
One zucchini plant feeds the entire neighborhood.
Freaking zucchini, man.
Yeah. But so to be able to utilize your homegrown food all winter, that's where the joy of gardening comes from, right?
That's where the money is.
Yeah. So anyways, gardening. It's great.
It is a good one.
Great
It's
skill.
a fun one.
Yeah.
People think it's boring.
Tasty.
But it's great.
Tasty.
Hunting, trapping, fishing. I think a lot of people think, well, SHTF, I got a gun. I'll go up and kill all the deer. I'm good.
Slick as a whistle.
There's going to be plenty of others up there doing the same.
Yeah.
And who's to say they won't just shoot you in the head?
Have you ever been out on opening morning of the rifle hunt?
Oh, my gosh,
It's chaos. It's like World War I.
There's no trees. It's just orange everywhere.
It's just orange and everybody's shooting.
It is. Like,
it's crazy.
I remember we went up to Flaming Gorge, and I was like, there's just trucks everywhere and like orange walking around. I'm like, are they finding anything? They looking for rocks?
It's almost kind of scary.
Yeah. So
You know
there
what I
are a
mean?
lot of hunters, and it's a skill that I had a rude awakening.
Yeah, for
that
sure,
I
huh?
thought I kind of knew shooting birds and fishing occasionally with my family. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Because I had the chance to go and hunt an elk first with the bow, which is way harder than I ever expected. I knew it would be hard, but it was way harder than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way you have to approach the animals and the timing, the time of day you got to go out,
Yeah.
and your smell, scent. Like, it was amazing to experience that because
And it was even harder because you had a guy with a camera coming along with you too.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it any
There it
easier.
is. No, it didn't
A
make any
video
noise.
camera.
But yeah,
I'm quiet, but-
yeah, no, he was super quiet.
Yeah.
But like things that I thought would be way easy, even pulling a trigger at like how many yards was I that I probably fired?
Oh, geez, I don't even remember. Was it like 70 yards
Yeah.
or something? Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I played Call
Maybe
of Duty. I understand
75
the
yards?
mechanics here,
Yeah.
and like to pull the trigger and the animal to take one step,
Yeah.
the difference in that
For
and
sure.
where you'll hit them
Yeah.
is like I spent a lot of time thinking about it. I'm like, geez, I thought for how fast the bullet, it would just be like boom, right where I pointed, and it's just a different experience that you really have to go and experience it yourself. And hunting is not bad. It's not like that's another thing. Killing animals, there's different people, but like true hunting during the season, like it needs to happen, and you need to learn how to do it. And fishing's a whole nother frustrating, boring event.
Oh, you're gonna have some people pissed, but
no,
I understand
it's not boring. Like,
Fishing isn't really my thing either.
Yeah. Like, I started getting into it. It's weird. It's one of those things that I'm like, it doesn't sound that fun, but like my in-laws have some ponds that are stocked and stuff. It's cheat fishing, I guess. I don't know. But like, you really start to get into it. You start to learn like, how to, I haven't fly fished, but like learning how to do those things, it does. It starts to
Here's the
come out
thing.
and you really want to do.
Yeah, with fishing, if I'm by myself or with a buddy and I don't have my kids,
That's
I love fishing.
100% the truth.
You got 3 kids that are getting snags every 5 seconds, and I hate it.
That's good you put that in there because that made all the difference.
It makes
in
a
the world.
complete difference. If you and I went
My
up fly
family
fishing,
like gave up. Like
Yeah.
the kids were like, and so they were like wandering around playing.
Yes.
And I was like totally into it.
Yes.
And I can see why people love it for that. 'cause
That's
it's
a different
so
thing.
Quiet.
Yes.
And you're waiting for that feel of the. So I shouldn't say it's boring, but
Yeah.
it's a nightmare with kids and families.
Yes.
But teaching them, and when they get to pull that fish out, like
Oh,
it's
for
exciting.
sure. They love it.
But like that's another thing that it seems super easy, and you just I'll get some lures and I'll get some we'll just get some worms and we're good.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot to it
For sure.
So, anyways, I've never trapped, and trapping opens up a whole different world of hunting,
does.
and that gives you the ability to trade furs and be all you want to be as a hunter.
In the all.
It's just like
yeah.
it's crazy how many trappers we still have around here in the basin.
There's a lot in the basin.
Was
Yeah.
like, holy crap.
Yep.
And they make good money, but like that's something that can be used in an SHTF if you learn how to do it.
Oh, it'd be perfect in an
So-
SHTF, a long-term SHTF
Yeah,
scenario.
trapping would be a huge skill. So those are just things like the hunting needs to be experienced. You need to try it out. You need to look into it. Fishing, there's a lot more than just tossing it in there. So,
For
anyways,
sure.
that's the hunting, trapping, fishing
Nice.
skill to work on.
So then if we go to number 8, this again goes along with the last 2 that we talked about, or 3 that we've talked about. Foraging is a big deal as well. So you've got, you got farming or gardening, you've got hunting, and you've got maybe even livestock, raising your own food. The next in line, like as a good supplement, is going to be foraging. It's going to help you kind of fill in those gaps maybe. And you got a lot of time on your hands in an SHTF scenario. You might as well go looking for food.
Think about right now how much we eat and snack.
Oh gosh, all day
when
long.
you don't have food, like
It's horrible.
everybody's miserable.
Yeah. So
There's like all these different ways to
procure food. Yeah, for sure. So there's
That's
like
a tough one.
there's wild edible plants. There's berries and mushrooms. There's even wild vegetables.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But you have to understand it. You can't just go out picking weeds and throwing them in your mouth.
This is the scariest thing to me.
I know, me too.
I don't think I could. I just like I would
don't
never
trust myself enough.
Even like I would stare at the car and be like, "It looks just like this," but I don't want to eat it. Yeah, I will die.
That is 100% how I am as well.
Scary.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and some people they're just like really free with it. And I'm just gonna eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. That's not me. You know, and
Eating dandelions.
yeah.
This one helps with your urination. It's a good diuretic. You're like,
oh
what?
man. And think about getting lost in the woods or like in the desert at some point, and you have this skill.
Yeah.
Boy, aren't you feeling good about yourself at that point? You know what I mean?
This tree's edible.
Yeah, I could live for 100 years right here. Eat
But
this
it is
fir
a
tree.
huge deal, and it's an intimidating and confusing deal too.
It really is. You know, and if you live downtown in urban areas, it can be, harder, but there's a bunch of stuff on urban foraging as well that I've seen. But, if you're in suburban areas or rural areas, there's so much you can go out and forage for. The edibles are everywhere.
Yeah.
It's insane. But you have to.
Oregon has a lot. Denver, Colorado, they have tons of edibles.
They love the edibles. So learning what wild edibles are available, especially in your area, it's a great skill. And learning to forage through all 4 seasons.
Yeah,
that's
all. Yeah, that changes it up.
Yep. So get a book, watch a video, learn from somebody.
Yeah, we got those little cards, wasn't it, from BattleBox?
Probably
the foraging cards.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've taken those out. I have not eaten the plant, but I've tried to see if I could identify, based on the little description in the picture, and it's freaking hard. So
we ought to one day find a local
eat a bunch of plants,
find a local guy who can do that, and go out with him.
Yeah,
man.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Get wet with prep.
Nah, it's a new slogan for 2022.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's the theme. Fire starting, number 9. We've talked about how this can be a humbling experience.
Yeah, we put some videos up recently.
We pissed some people off about the ferro rod thing.
Yeah, I was going back and forth with somebody this morning. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah, it was good.
We mentioned how the ferro rod seems like a worthless kind of thing,
and we probably shouldn't have said worthless or useless. It's just
this was
overrated.
An answer to somebody's question.
It was,
so
yeah, but it's
we kind of.
The way we really phrased it, or we wanted to, is it's overrated.
Overrated.
Yes.
That's a perfect way.
Right? Because it's not useless.
No, there's a lot you can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a little bit of a trigger word. But,
yeah.
But you've got your Bix, which is super nice. Then you got ferro rod, flint. You got to try different fire starters too. Like seriously, try to build a fire and use primitive ways. You're going to learn how to build a fire that's efficient.
Fire starters, like you talked about, there's so many of them.
Oh my
There's
gosh,
so many different ones. The funny thing is, this guy I was going back and forth with today on Instagram or something. He's got his own website, and he's some survival guy. The number one fire starter.
What is it, ferrorod.com?
No,
and his name's Rod.
Yeah, Pharaoh Rod Jenkins.
FairRodney.com.
Yeah, but the number one fire starter that he pushes is that Instafire garbage stuff
that
comes in the pack. And I'm like, okay, bro, don't come at me with that because that stuff is trash.
We have tried it multiple times.
Yeah, it's trash. Compare. Obviously, I'll use it.
It'll
if I have
work.
To, but compared to
but
the
you have
other
to have a
stuff,
blowtorch. Yeah,
screw that.
That's
stuff.
funny, really.
Yeah, I just thought it was. I didn't say anything, but
Yeah. So, but yeah, learning to build a proper fire, the pre-fire phase is so important. You got to learn what type of wood. You got to learn what kind of kindling to use. There's all kinds of different plants that are better to start fires. It just teaches you a lot. It's a fun thing to do with kids. I always try and involve my children, and then they just try and burn everything.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different ways to learn how to use a hand drill, fire plow. There's wood, feathering the wood so that you can get a better flame off from a piece of wood. Pump drill, bow drill, DeWalt drill, and then fire piston. There's a lot of these extreme ways to start a fire, but it would be nice to learn how to do some of these. We've tried a bunch of fire starters, which is nice. We've used a lot of little kindling makers, and it I've found which ones I like and which ones I don't. And the only way to do that is just by building your own. We tried to start the hardest time we ever tried to start that fire was in that cave.
Oh yeah, it was tough.
Because everything was wet and
damp,
and it was it's just a whole different. You've got to build your fire a whole different way and find the right things that'll just take off. So
it's all about that prep. It's the pre-lighting phase is where you really got to get.
And so from
it's a skill.
From the beginning of us doing videos to now, I thought I knew how to build a fire. Everybody thinks they know how to build a fire really well. But you get the ones that start up fast and die out. Then you get the ones that just smoke for 7 hours. You really got to play with it and learn what's more effective, because you're not always going to have that Bic or that fire starter, and so you got to learn how to do it with what's natural. And so
absolutely.
it's just something to try. It's fun to do and an easy skill to kind of work on.
It's fun. Yeah, it's super fun. That's a great one.
Be a man about it when you go camping.
Just
try
take
not
a ferro
to use.
rod.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck.
Sure.
Number 10, communication skills. Oh boy.
Big one.
It's a good, I mean, communication, it's a vital skill for any single prepper out there, you know, and this doesn't mean, a lot of people when they think this, they think it means being like the top-notch ham radio expert, although that is a great skill. Communication has so many different categories. I mean,
you
got the basic hand signals, like you know what I'm saying right now, right? I got this. You got like whistles, you got flags, you know, mirrors, fire signals, Morse code, handwritten communications, verbal communications, electronic comms, predetermined fixed signal comms,
pheromone communications.
Yeah, you know, like a tie on the door, red lights mean scary monsters are coming. The curtains are closed, run away, whatever it is, you know. And then there's like emergency alerts. You need to understand about these emergency alerts, what's available, how to get them, like the EAS, you know, the radio and TV apps and phone. Even the local sirens that go off for tornadoes or emergencies. There's so many different things. And then, you know, it goes into understanding the radios, obviously the apps and the methods used, and have a system to be informed as quickly as possible during any emergency.
Yeah. That sounds super basic, but we got 3 different radio systems.
Yeah.
And it took me forever to get them to communicate to each other.
Yeah.
Because they have like a locked frequency, and you have to figure out how to unlock that. And so I had to figure out how to get the Rocky Talkies to talk to the
Midlands or whatever.
Or Red it was the Midlands.
Yeah.
And then the Redivus, they all have their own little code. And so this is just a 2-way radio. This isn't like a complicated radio system. Because you may only have somebody that has one or the other. You know, you're not going to have 2 of the same brand. And you have to learn how to play with those. And I've been doing that a lot more lately. Yeah. One of these days, I'll move up to a ham radio.
One day.
1 year.
Yeah. And then communication even comes down to something like my favorite, the family emergency plan. This is kind of like your first step in emergency communication.
That's full-on communication.
Yeah, so it's basically going to spell out, again, how you're going to communicate during an emergency situation. So that's a big deal. And then when it comes down to phones, like your cell phones, your calls, your texts, keeping them charged, and then there's landlines, and then there's satellite phones. Like, communication is so big. And then
it is. It's like
it is a huge
world
thing. And then radios, like Cam said, there's 2 ways. There's hams, there's GMRS, there's CB, there's FRS, there's shortwave radios. There's just your regular AM, FM radio. Like, radios is like a whole thing on itself, you know. And then verbal communication.
This one's huge to me because there's so many people that don't know how to do this well.
Oh, my gosh. There's a lot.
Even people that are super skilled.
Yes.
They just are retarded.
Yeah.
That's a bad word, I know.
It is.
But they really are impaired at, like, communicating with other human beings.
You can't, and you have to be good at it. It's a skill that you need to get, that you need to work on. You know, being able to communicate clearly and effectively in verbally in an emergency situation, it's gonna save lives.
Yeah.
It's gonna help. Being calm and collected and ready to give needed info and ready to take needed info. You know, and relaying the correct and vital info without a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
Just saying this is what you need to do, or this is what we need to do, and go, you know, and being able to go and do it. So
de-escalating situations.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, everybody knows that work person that just has this tone that just sets everybody off.
Yeah.
Like, that person is in trouble.
Yeah, it's not good.
They are not going to be able to ask for help from anybody because they do it in a horrible, demeaning manner. It's like,
and so just think about all those aspects of communication that help with prepping, with being prepared.
Right.
It's a gigantic skill that has all these different facets. But, you know, take one of those this year and try and figure it out.
Right.
You know,
seriously.
Try.
No, there's a billion ways to do it. You can spend 15 years working on just your ham radio license like me and never get it.
Yep.
But I want to talk about cybercrime. It's a bad deal.
It is.
And it's abundant. And do you have any devices that connect to the internet?
Several.
Yeah. We all do.
Yeah.
And all of them are vulnerable to be hacked, to lose your information, to get your nudes taken from you. You don't want this to happen. And there's a way you can protect yourself.
How?
And it's called Surfshark VPN. It's a virtual private network that essentially makes you go gray man online.
great.
And that's a huge deal. You can go browse wherever you want, not worry about ads, not worry about your email being stolen. And if it is, they can alert you. It's a great service. And I love that you can just get a subscription that covers every device that connects to the internets. That's a big deal. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, and it's really hard to understand me sometimes, you got to try it. And you can try it for 30 days, money back guarantee.
Beautiful.
It's one of the easiest apps I've ever used for a VPN. I've used several. You just click it, turn it on, you connect to a server, and you're ready to go. You're ready to go.
Great.
And it'll cost you
Nothing.
for 27 months less than $60. You can't beat it.
No.
And you need to do it. And you can get it at surfshark.deals/casual preppers. Put casual preppers in there, get your discount, go online safe and sound.
Surfshark.
Yes.
Get it done. Nice.
Navigations.
Ooh.
I don't even know how to start with this one.
Let's try and navigate this.
So yeah, navigation can be like, when I was in San Francisco, I was like, how did I ever get anywhere without a smartphone?
I don't know how we did it.
Like, even walking, I'm like, where am I?
I know.
Like, even walking, not even driving around, I'm like, I'm all disoriented.
I think back to when we would go on some sort of a road trip when I was
you had to like study the map.
in the 90s. I'm like, how did we get there without getting lost?
I still remember my mom sitting up next to my dad,
Yeah.
having a map like taking up half his vision.
Yeah.
That she's just like, okay, you're gonna take the next road, Alan, here in
Yeah.
like 55 miles. Like that skill is lost. Like we don't have that skill anymore. And we're not always gonna have the technology that we have. Like we hopefully will and probably
hopefully
will.
we will. Yeah.
But you need to learn how to navigate without your cell phone. And maps, like learning how to read maps, learning how to, scale the map and understand it. Topographical maps, they're confusing, and you have to learn like what that means. Okay, I'm going to go here to here. It's going to take me this amount of time and find out it's a mountain. You know, it's 6,000 foot elevation. You've got to learn how to read those things. You've got to like experience it. Compasses, they look amazing and they sound cool, but they're kind of confusing.
They kind of can
like you
be.
really have to kind of understand how to work a compass and get to the place that you're and the only way to do it is by practicing. And they have the fancy ones that kind of give you an estimate of like you got to focus on a tree, and there's just a lot that goes into navigation, and it's something we haven't spent or talked a lot on because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like it's something I want to learn more of, and I have a friend, my brother's friend that I talk to a lot. He's in the military, and they'll go on these little they'll go take him out to like Wyoming, and they say we've got all these dog tags in these trees. First one to get through and come back, gets a bullet.
Yeah, in the head.
But he's like, he does a really good job at it. And he's like, it's really not like once you understand and can read a map, which is what they're training him to do.
Yeah.
He's like, you can get all over really quick. And so spending time with somebody that knows what they're talking about is huge. If you get lost in the wilderness, it's easy to get turned around in a forest, like learning where the sun comes up and goes down. Like even that sometimes I'm like, is it set in the east or the west?
To me, that's a great place to start. If you can't go out your house until you say which way is north, south, east, and west, start there this year.
It's crazy how confusing that even gets.
Yeah, get that figured out. If you can get that figured out, you're doing pretty good.
That's probably the
Start
truth there.
You know what I mean? Start there.
And then stars, different times of the year,
Yeah.
what constellations are up, like that gets more extreme. But my biggest fear ever is like if I ever go out on the water and were to get stranded.
No, not
I
know
would
which
just
way to go.
dunk my head in and die.
Yeah, just
'Cause
take a big gulp of that
it's
water.
like, you hear
go
those
down.
like survival stories of them like
Yeah.
if we're off by like even a tiny bit, we'll miss an island by 150 miles.
Yeah.
Like that is
Yeah.
the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah,
to me.
super scary.
But anyways,
That's
so
why I don't go in the ocean.
spending a little time with navigation without technology is going to be huge.
That is huge. Okay, number 12, leadership. This one might seem a little odd to some people, but if you plan to survive any sort of an emergency situation, an SHTF situation, even if it's only short term.
If you're married, have a wife, you're covered.
Yeah, good luck.
Leadership's
She's already
been
got it
set up.
done. Leadership is a quality or a skill that you're going to want to work on. If you find yourself in a less than desirable situation and you're with a group, I mean, if it's family, if it's friends, if it's these random people in an elevator, you are going to want to be the one in charge, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully that, you understand enough that you want to be the one making those decisions because you're the one that's the prepper. You're the one that's prepared, Hopefully,
Right.
right? You don't want to get in a situation where some idiot says, "This is what we got to do."
Yeah.
Take off your pants and run around. This is going to fix it. It's not going to fix it.
Said, everybody. You heard him.
Wait, let's do what he asks, everyone.
But that, like, knowing leadership skills yourself,
Yes.
you'll be able to recognize this guy knows what he's talking about. Like,
Yes.
I'm okay with him taking control right now.
You're right. Yes. So if you're in a situation
He
where
says
maybe
pants off, he means pants off,
get them
everybody.
ding dongs out, let's roll. But yeah, you're right. If you can recognize, somebody who understands what's happening. So learning the skill of leadership can be really hard to do. But first off, to be a leader in an emergency situation, for me, the number one thing is you have to have knowledge of that situation. You've got to understand what's happening, and you got to understand what to do in those situations. Because you don't want to just be a leader and not know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out and lead a rugby
Which
team.
is why I don't spend much time on firearms.
Sure.
Because there's an expert everywhere.
They're easy to find.
It's so nice.
They're easy to find. You know what I mean? So to me, if you want to be a leader in an emergency situation, be as knowledgeable as possible about what to do in emergency situations. That's probably the number one thing to do. But moving beyond that, working on speaking up and, working on your public speaking.
That's huge.
Yeah, I hate that. And your vocabulary, because
Well, it's like shut your mouth.
no, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
But like the tone too,
Sure, yes. The inflections.
Everybody listen up.
Yeah, I know. But, vocabulary, you don't want to follow somebody who's like, I think we should do this. Go down on that up and downy thing.
Right.
And maybe go around in the corner and the thing with the buttons on it.
Everybody jump in my Ram. We're going downtown around the Denny's.
But if you sound like you know what's going on and you sound smart, you're gonna be able to lead some people a lot easier. You know what I mean?
As people are listening to our podcast.
No, shut up. Do as I say, not as I do.
Be a leader as we are.
Yes. Understanding teams and how they work. Team sports are great to
That's true,
learn that kind of thing. Understanding yourself and your limitations. Understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are. I got a lot of weaknesses, very little strengths, and I understand it.
Yeah.
Right? So I know that. Learn to be a good listener. Being a good leader is being a good listener.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, it comes back to that knowledge of having the right gear.
Don't be so sensitive.
Yeah. Deal with it. Okay. Having that confidence obviously is a great thing, and being ready with a plan in those situations. You want to be the leader.
Yeah.
Because you're the prepper.
Yeah.
Even casual or not, you're the prepper.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a whole episode on its own, too. Leadership. Leadership.
I'm the guy in the lead.
I'm the guy to look to. I got a leadership skill.
They call me Mr. Leadership.
Yeah. I call my team Orion. Everybody follow me.
Team Orion, come behind me. Pull down your pants. We're going. Get wet with
your
prepping.
Team pants, your team no pants.
Shirts and skins.
No pants with me.
Shirts and skins.
Yep. Number 13, gray man. I practice this one regularly.
You do, yeah.
When I go to the store, I go very gray man. Otherwise, people are like, this crotch rat isn't getting any better. Look at it.
Cam thinks he's like Leo DiCaprio going to the store, putting on a hat and glasses.
No.
The paparazzi's coming.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, I feel like I've seen everybody in town for some medical issue at one point. And it's just like, I don't know, it's super awkward. They don't have any, like,
shame.
There's no shame. There's like, that Viagra didn't work very well. You got to know your options. And I'm like, picking out pickles. I'm like, I don't know.
Scrotum still got that weird fungus. What should I do, doc?
But like, you really need to work on how to be a gray man, how to blend in, how to go unnoticed. Some of you do a great job at this.
Yeah.
So
I don't know who you are, but
but like,
yeah.
Nowadays, people like to stand out and be different, and you know, and that's fine. But in a SHTF, like, you're gonna want to blend in and not be noticed. People leave you alone, because you look just boring and and ugly, and that's fine. So, and this includes, like, you got to understand, like, what clothes to wear and your appearance, like, we talked about all the little key things. Like a bald person will be more recognized and stand out more than somebody that's not bald.
Sometimes you can't
tattoos.
worry about tattoos.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't, but I'm just saying, like, maybe put a hat on or something.
But then the hat is a distinguishing feature, too.
That's true, yeah.
Sometimes.
You can't be gray, man. I'm sorry. Don't work on this skill. But there's just a lot of little things to kind of blend in if you're, to avoid riots, to avoid family members, to avoid patients.
Paparazzi.
Yeah. But, like, this is a big skill, and we've talked about it. We had a whole podcast on this, but it's a skill to work on.
For sure. It's a great one. Number 14. Organizational skills.
That's a tough one.
Good gracious, it's tough. I read a thing once that said, preppers are just hoarders with good organizational skills.
That doesn't apply.
Could
to
be
every
true.
prepper.
No. But, I think the better you are with organization, the better prepared you are.
For sure.
Right? For sure. I mean, there's so many aspects of prepping that are easier or more effective when you have better organizational skills. I mean, think about it. You're out, you got your bug out bag, your arm gets blown off. Crap, where's my tourniquet? It's in my bag somewhere.
At the bottom, under the tarp,
yeah,
wrapped around the hatchet.
Exactly. If you were better organized.
That's more organized than I am with my bag.
You wouldn't be dead. With prepping with food and water, it's hard to know what you need next or what's out of date or what you need.
Or what to top off on.
You've got to be organized because otherwise it's just a bunch of food in a place that you have. You know what I mean? You don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's about as simple as you can put a bunch of food in a location I live in.
Yeah, so if you're organizing, you will understand what you have, what you need, and what you need to be working towards, or what you don't need to be working towards.
That sounded perfect for what you were trying to explain.
Oh, man. So anyways, even a good emergency plan, it's great organization. You have it stored in an effective place for everyone that is involved. You organize regular updates and you go through it and you try it and you practice. So that's a good thing. Great organization will help you have the best available gear when it's needed as well. What are you laughing at?
Your note down here at the bottom.
Oh, I don't know what it was.
20 flashlights.
Oh, yeah. So, like I said, you might have 20 flashlights laying around the house, but you can only find that shitty $1, like...
That's the truth, too.
Every
that has
time.
a beam that goes about an inch. You're like, well,
yeah. Like your phone screen's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like... being organized in a power outage, knowing where that nice flashlight is, where your headlamp is, where your BioLite Solar Home 620 is, that being organized, I mean, it's such a big deal.
I have reorganized my stuff like 50 times and it still feels unorganized. Like somebody had like cut their head and I'm like, I can fix them. Going downstairs and it's just like tearing everything up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be. Like, that should be the kit that I have the most prepared. And
it's like, I found some biscuits and gravy. Does that work? You hungry?
I got scotch tape and a lighter. So I think that we can melt it.
I think we can get this done. Come over here.
But yeah, it's a huge deal.
It's
a huge deal.
Organization.
Number 15, finances. We talked about how you need to get your finances in order. You can work towards being a millionaire, but we're just talking about being prepared for a rainy day emergency,
Like a hedge fund manager. That's what you got to be.
Yeah. A loan manager.
Yeah.
But like learning
interbreeding loan managers.
But gotta organize with your money, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
There will be a time where you need money right now.
Like, okay.
And not from the TV commercial. I need money. It's my money. I want it now.
Yeah.
What was it? There, less than 50% of Americans have $500. That is terrifying. And so, if you have $500, you're ahead of 50%.
50% of you out there don't have $500 for an emergency,
and that's scary.
Get it?
So, I would say with finances, learning how to like work towards getting an emergency fund is probably the biggest part of all of this.
I agree.
And then after that, having readily available cash, get your money to work for you.
Yes.
The end.
That's
all
great.
I want to put on
It's
finances.
a good skill. It really is.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge skill.
It sounds weird because it's like, well, prepping, money's not going to be used. And yeah, it's going to.
It's been used for 40 years I've been alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you need to learn how to manage it better.
I agree.
Everybody, I'm always working on this, and I still haven't figured it out.
Me either. Number 16, construction, building, shelters. What do you think about that, Cam?
I like building things.
In an SHTF situation, and in everyday life, understanding how to build anything is a huge advantage. My dad is great with this. I'm not as great. He can build anything. And it pisses me off sometimes. He's so damn good at it. It's like, just looks at it. Oh, okay, we can do that. It's easy. And just jerry rig something up and it works perfect.
Yeah.
I try and do something like to the T, reading directions, and it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
It's not a skill that I have.
My dad has that skill too.
Yeah. And so, having that knowledge is handy. If you get lost in the wilderness, you got to build yourself a shelter.
Yeah.
You want to live, so that's great. Repairing your home or shelter in a long-term SHTF situation, that's going to be crucial. Learning the basics of construction, woodworking, know how to use the tools and what tools you need. That's a pretty big skill right there as well. And then having those tools.
Yeah.
Again, books are great, videos are great. Understanding the basics of shelter building, like we said, that handyman guy in the apocalypse, he's going to be just as useful as your antibiotics dealer.
Yeah,
he really will be, because everything's gonna have to be fixed. You can't just go buy a new one.
Yeah,
and so
I can't flush the toilet.
Hey, gonna fix her up. Ain't a man. Ain't a man.
It's down there by the food and stuff I store in that building over there.
I'll put her right there by the eggs. So we should be good.
I'm the leader of this group.
What's your pants doing up? Take them down.
Come in here and no pants on.
That's against the rules.
But no, that one's crazy. I wish I knew more about framing.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
But I don't.
No.
And I'm going to hire somebody to keep doing
exactly. And then there's other skills that welding.
Yeah.
And plumbing.
Yeah.
Good
And
gracious.
somehow my dad knows how to do all of those.
Yeah, I don't get my dad does too.
Comes and shows me a shed. I'm like, who built this? I did. I'm like, really?
How'd
Wow.
you do that?
Yeah, welded that over there, put a T-bar in there, and you got 6 nails in, and you got to run the truss off it. I'm like, okay, see ya.
Didn't have the right Johnson rod. I just made one. It's all good.
I'm like, okay, well, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah.
But no, it's a huge thing to learn how to do that stuff.
It is.
Build your own stuff time to time.
Yeah.
Marksmanship, we talked about hunting. You obviously want to know how to hit a target.
It's always a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this you do need to practice. And I get tips every time. Thank you, everybody, when I'm holding a pistol.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Anything I do, you're not loading those bullets right.
Yeah.
But, marksmanship is huge. Every gun shoots different. And you've got to be comfortable with the ones you own. Number one.
Instagram.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Yeah. Kobe and I joke about it. We'll just put one up and before I even hit submit, somehow there's a comment that pops up.
Yeah.
Is that a silver gun? I was going to not be able to see that from a mile away.
That model of gun shouldn't be used in that climate at that time of day. Don't you understand?
Yeah. Never seen a sight on a pistol like that. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. But anyway.
My mama wouldn't shoot a gun like that. I don't know what you thinking.
Yeah. Regardless of what people say and the intimidation, if you have a gun, know how to shoot it.
Yeah.
And if you own a bow, practice with it. That's the only way that you're going to be good and want to use them. If you can't do those, don't even pick it up.
Don't even pick it up.
Seriously.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like it. Marksmanship. 18, electrical. Boy, electricity is cool.
It is.
But it's scary and weird. It doesn't make any sense. It's magic. It's 100% magic.
It's so, it is.
I don't know what's going on.
Biggest magical thing ever created on the planet.
Just I don't get it. I like that my lights turn on and I can play the PlayStation, but I don't get what's going on. Makes no sense. So, but if you can understand this, boy, it's a huge benefit. All you electricians out there, you got a keen mind. Good job. It's just scary because you get shocked and you die.
Yeah.
With electricity. It's lightning in your house. I don't know how it works.
It's so crazy.
But the basics of this stuff is going to be invaluable in an SHTF situation. Keeping the power on, understanding solar power systems and how to rig them up and batteries. And
it's so different.
There's so much to it. You got wires and you got sun, and then you got these panels.
Yeah. Got to store it somewhere.
You got to put it in a place.
Yeah.
And then the lightning strikes. I don't get how it works. But then also repairing electrical devices, gadgets, appliances, and all those types of things is great.
Yeah. Soldering.
Yes. All
Getting
that
shocked, how to not die.
Yeah. So just understanding some of that stuff is a great skill to develop for any prepper out there.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm glad I worked with my uncle for like 2 years he's an electrician and
Corey?
yeah, the one that called me Corey forever.
Yeah.
Well, not him, but yeah. But I remember like the first day on the job, I was like, "So was the black positive and the white?" He's like, "Oh,
Oh, great.
So yeah, you learn a lot about it, and you just got to spend some time with it.
Yeah.
Mechanical, handyman, knowing how to fix your own vehicle, knowing where the oils go, knowing what the gears do, knowing what a noise might be coming from, like
yeah,
like doing some of the engine repair yourself. The newer vehicles are freaking confusing.
I don't even. Yeah, I have a 2020 Ram truck, and I'm like,
that's the bad thing is those new ones are freaking confusing.
Yeah,
but like spending some time working on these things, like even if it's as simple as like changing the spark plugs and doing simple maintenance on your lawnmower, you're going to learn more than most of the generation coming up.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
But like these skills will come in handy because you don't know what kind of improvisation you're going to have to make for getting to town to get some medicine.
Yeah,
you're riding a lawnmower. You want to know how to make it go faster. But
yeah, for sure.
Just like keeping things running. This is the handyman skill that we were talking about. It's just like this is all experience that our parents and like I'm jealous of it.
I am,
but
too.
At the same time, like I could spend more time doing some of these things, learning some of these things.
It's hard because there's so many things.
Downloading guides on the things you own. Like
I don't get it. People are so good, like mechanics. It's such a cool skill.
Yeah, it is.
I don't get it. And even like, again, it goes back to my dad. He just understands the basics of it. And I'm like, it was making this noise. It's probably this, positron, negative, Johnson, Rob, dang. And I'm like, okay, how do you know that?
I know.
I don't get it.
I don't know how they learn it either. Like
know?
my dad, I call him all the time for like fixing or building or doing something. He's like, "Oh yeah, well, you're using this. You got to put pressure up on that."
But then again, like he can't hardly turn on his television without my help. So there's that.
It's just that gap of but you like pick their brains, and learn from them. So, anyways, it's a huge skill that like we could all learn better. Even if you pick up, popular mechanics, like there's things you can learn in there, little handyman skills.
Sure.
There's a magazine in my dad's cabin that says, "Know how to fix everything." I'm like, that's a good book to own.
I'll take that.
It's just like this magazine that's only like 25 pages.
It's funny. I got this book. I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's like the guide, the time traveler's guide to build everything.
Oh, really?
And it's really like a book that shows you how to build like all the most important things throughout history that's been built. It's kind of a cool book. It's interesting.
But that kind of stuff, that book's worth its weight in gold.
For sure, yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
anyways.
Okay, number 20. We're at the last one. Bushcraft skills. Oh, man, we did an entire episode on this. But how cool are bushcrafters, Cam?
They really are freaking...
They're really cool.
I wish I knew that stuff.
I do, too.
Probably won't ever use a lot of it in my life because I'll die before I get to that point. But.
Sure. But they're so cool. And a lot of those skills are they're invaluable to preppers. Understanding how to live off the land. It goes back to something Cam talked about, building fires, shelters, building tools and items that you
pulls
need.
all this stuff in, all these other skills.
Yeah. Finding and purifying water. That's bushcraft. Knots and cordage. That's a whole other skill that we didn't even talk about. Navigation, Cam talked about that. Foraging, hunting, trapping, tracking. We talked about all this. I mean,
it's all in bushcrafting. Like
it is. Yeah. And it's basically being able to go out into the woods, into the bush, into the mountains, and just living.
Find a stick and make a mansion.
Exactly. And they do. It's insane.
Yeah, I can't believe what they can do.
And any of the skills that you can learn in this is going to be super beneficial to you. And YouTube is a wealth of knowledge with bushcrafting.
Yep.
There's some insane bushcrafters on YouTube. Go check them out. There's books like Bushcraft 101. They're fantastic. There's lots of good information. But, you kind of just have to go out and do bushcrafting because you can look and read, but you got to get out there. You got to get the knife in your hands. You got to get the sticks in your hands. You got to go do it. You can go out there and take classes as well. Like our buddy Donnie Dust has these classes. He does like crazy bushcrafting stuff, lives off the land, and it's super cool, the stuff that they can do,
These are the only true people that should be could be lone wolf.
Could be lone wolfers. But it takes a long time.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do bushcrafting for 3 months and then go out and live.
Yeah.
You gotta be doing this all the time.
Everybody thinks they're hardcore, but like all the skills, like everything we've already mentioned, like falls into bushcrafting. So it
really does, yeah.
If you're spending some time with that, You're going to pick up a lot of skills.
Yeah, you know, so if an SHTF situation like forces you to leave civilization, to go out and live in the woods, this is where the bushcrafters are going to shine.
Yeah.
They can go out there, they can be low key, they can live off the land, and they're going to be fine. But,
like
you know,
Ewoks.
Yeah, like Ewoks, Wicket, and whatever. But, you know, even just camping and hiking, bushcraft skills are great.
It does. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
Like,
and they're fun. It's fun to do. So bushcrafting is a great skill. That's number 20.
You feel like a full-on man when you
really do
some bushcrafting.
You really do. Your beard grows at double the rate when you're bushcrafting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, but it does.
It grows 10 times the rate.
Oh, 10 times the rate. I thought it was double.
But yeah, like, and then all these skills we mentioned, how do you master these skills? Simple. Learn them and practice them.
Yeah, that's
like it.
All there is to it.
So
right?
do it.
Yeah, those are great. That's it. That's all we got, right?
Yeah.
That's 20.
You got
20
you
skills.
You don't have a
What? Yeah, no. Today's podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that.
That was it for the rest.
Okay, yeah. Is brought to you by TacPack.
Yeah.
The only monthly tactical subscription box with useful, professional grade stuff inside. Use our code Casual Preppers and get a free separate bag sent of EDC gear along with your first month's TacPack. Head to tacpack.com. Use that code Casual Preppers.
Speaking of magic,
It's time for the quick and dirty medical tip.
we're going to talk about magic.
Cool.
No, the freaking TacPack guys. I don't know how.
I don't know how they do it. Doesn't make any sense.
So this will be real quick. People ask me all the time, like patients are always like, "How do I build my immunity?" And I know I think I've mentioned this. We've talked about this before, but
This
it's like
is worth going over again.
it is super common for people to just like how do I build my immunity? And there's a lot of like misinformation out there. Like let's go like number one is like people when they get sick they start just like destroying vitamin C. They'll take like I took 15,000 milligrams yesterday. I heard it helps, and it doesn't. Like once you get a cold, you just got to naturally get over it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to help get over it
They
faster
do say
other
that
than rest and fluids.
Zinc
and
has a small effect, right?
it has
I
a
heard.
better effect for prevention than
Yeah,
it does.
for sure, yeah.
So, yeah, like these are Harvard studies that I went over, and like, I'm not saying the vitamins and minerals aren't good. They're great. They're better, much better for prevention. And one of the biggest things, like you think you're in a survival group, you have some elderly people in there. They're more vulnerable to things. And one of the biggest problems with older people is they're set in their ways and they eat the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
And so they have
Barley bean soup.
yeah.
Sounds like an old person food.
Potatoes and grits.
Yeah.
But like so they're micronutrition. They're micronutrient malnutrition, which is kind of interesting. They don't have the variety of vitamins and minerals that they should be eating, and so and all of us are kind of that way. Like we kind of get set with the things that we like, so we don't get the variety. And the biggest protection that we can have is eating a variety of things. And if you can't, then you supplement. And that's the biggest prevention for your immunity. But there are some other key things to do. Number one is exercise.
Oh, it's such a big deal.
It brings up, the sensitivity of your immunity, your white blood cell production. Everything is just better when you're healthy.
Dude, I can attest to that 100%.
Don't get sick hardly at all now.
Yeah, like I used to get like 2 or 3 like horrible colds a year, like bad.
Yeah.
Like, and it would be like 2 weeks, and I would be like, I want to die.
Yeah.
For the past 2 years, I haven't gotten one.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten one cold like that.
The immunity is because
that's
I've
been working out
the
more.
number one thing. And then other steps to take, eat a diet high in fruits and vegetables. If you can't, that's where you kind of supplement. And there's powders, green, like healthy greens and stuff that you can do to replace it. Smoking, drinking, obviously, that lowers your immunity. It's just unhealthy.
Yeah.
If you're not getting enough sleep, that's the other big thing. And that's the hardest. That's one of the hardest. Because that's like the time that me and my wife spend away from our kids. So it's like, it's the hardest time to go to bed.
It is,
like, that's when you're
like you have a couple of minutes
spending that quality
without
time.
kids. You're like, oh, I want to do something.
Yeah, I want to stay up all night.
My problem is now I can get to bed easy. I just get up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I'm doing both, and it's not good.
It's not great.
I don't sleep great, and I get up
Get up
early because
early,
I'm like, this is my quiet time. Everybody's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then the like stress has been shown to like really tax your immune system. Your adrenal glands are just fatigued, and so you just can't respond very well. So exercise, eating properly, and then when it comes down to like minerals and vitamins, like vitamin D, zinc, and selenium. Those things are helpful, but more in the prevention. So I would be adding them now.
Yeah.
And rather than take 1 billion milligrams of them once you're sick.
Yeah.
At that point, you just you have to rest, drink lots of fluids, and wait for it to pass. And we've talked about vitamin D being huge for immunity, for mental health, and that's another one to add in there. So zinc, selenium, iron, copper, folic acid, and vitamin A, B6, C, and E, and D are the ones to really focus on. And they come in multivitamins.
Yeah.
The other big thing is people overdo multivitamins. And like people take mega doses of these single vitamins, or they'll take a multivitamin and they'll take separate amounts of zinc.
Of other stuff.
You're just kind of wasting that. And the other thing is some of the natural stuff like echinacea, and those again are better just to take maybe during the seasons that are more heavily going to cause colds, like
the fall and winter.
Yeah. Taking them as immunity boosters, they have been shown to kind of help prevent, but they haven't shown to actually reduce the time of a cold. So
sexual activity is a big one too, right?
Yep, it's a stress releaser
100%.
and it's 100% exercise.
Perfect.
So you need to take care of that,
ladies.
Yeah. But anyways,
husbands, send that to your ladies.
Those are the things that I always tell everybody. It's just like multivitamins are good. You don't need to overdo it. When you get sick, you don't need to increase and waste the whole bottle. Exercise, getting more sleep, trying to reduce your stress with whatever that might be. Classes, exercising, things like that. So those are some immune boosters. I know that was kind of vague, but
that's good.
Like the studies haven't shown that any of those in heavy amounts are necessary, other than like keeping a good balanced, healthy diet and exercising. So
that's hard.
That is hard.
It's not easy.
It's like the hardest thing. So that's why people are like, I can just get a bunch of vitamins and take 1 billion of them when I'm sick.
Not really.
No.
Thank you guys. Work on these skills. Okay.
Yeah.
Do it. Work on the skills.
You'll be better.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I've been working on talking for many years.
For sure.
Can't get it down.
Yeah. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Please share us with your friends. Please go follow us on all the platforms that we are. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the places. Please just hit the follow button because we want you to be around.
We want to stay around.
And please comment on everything because we want to hear what you guys got going on. Send us messages on the website, casualpreppers.com. And we're excited for 2022. We got some things in store that we're excited to announce at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Big ideas.
Exciting, right? All right, guys. Stay survived.